Alrighty, boys, what's going on? My name is Garen Bama. How y'all doing today? So, I just got back from, work, and I watched the developer live stream. It's still going on as of now. It's currently 11:30, and the developers went over all of the stuff that's going to be coming in the December 4th update, and they also talked about the future of TFD, like 2026, and they gave us a roadmap that is going to be going up until 2026, or sorry, summer 2026. And that's going to be the topic of this video. One, it's easy to talk about, and two, I wasn't taking notes. I didn't watch the entirety of the developer live stream. I watched bits and pieces after they had started it, so I have to watch it in its entirety, and then I also had to take notes while I do that, so I remember, all the stuff that I want to talk about in the separate video that is going to be coming out, talking about that stuff. But what I wanted to focus on was 2026. So, where do we even begin with this? So this is going to be a bit of a long one, but bear with me. I am extremely impressed with the developers based off of what I saw face to face off of the 2026 roadmap. I have very high hopes, and I'm genuinely not saying that because a lot of the stuff that I saw was a lot of the things the community has been asking for. It's a lot of the things that I know for a fact the game needs. This is not a situation where, you guys are so toxic, the developers keep listening to you and it keeps... No, these are things that have genuine, just positive, positive input in the game. And so I wanted to really go over, and I wanted to sit down, go over the roadmap with you guys, and I just want to say that I really do think, after looking at this roadmap, that 2026 might actually save TFD, and I genuinely believe that. Like I said, emphasis on the might part, because at the end of the day, developers could do something, fucky wucky that's going to mess everything up, but if they deliver, I genuinely believe that 2026 might really be a great period for TFD, better than 2025, better than when the game launched. I think there is a lot of good stuff here, and I think you guys are really going to like it, and I'm going to explain why. For any of you who are returning players, new players, there's also some new stuff in there that I might not have the complete answer to. Either the devs didn't talk about it, or I might have missed it because I was also trying to read the roadmap and kind of see what was all going on while they were kind of going through it. So with that being said, let's take a look at the roadmap. Alrighty, so let's take a look at the roadmap, and let me just pull it up. I'm sorry, let me pull it up on my side. Alright, so let's look at January. Now, one thing the developers did mention is that Season 3 is going to be extended. This is something that they did with Season 2, where we had Season 2, Episode 1, which was like the first initial part, and then we had Season 2, Episode 2, which added things like Serena, Sigma Sector, all that kind of stuff. Well, with Season 3, we're actually going to be getting Season 3, Episode 3, which, I'll be honest with you, I kind of had a feeling they were going to do that, but then we're also getting Season 3, Episode 4. So, and then Season 4, Episode 1 will start in the summer, so August, June, July-ish, should be somewhere around there. So I want to say June will probably be when when Season 4, Episode 1 comes out. So first, let's take a look at January. Breach tracking field. Now, I'm not really entirely sure if the developers actually mentioned what this is. I think they might have been focused on some of the other stuff, like the stuff that's going to be coming in like February onward. So I don't really know what the breach tracking field is, but I want to say it might be something similar to Sigma Sector. I can't give you a confirmation of that, but all I can tell is that January is going to be pretty light on content. Next up, we're going to have monthly balance, some monthly balance changes, which is going to be Enzo. This is something that developers have been doing every month, where they take one specific Descendant and they readjust them. So this month it was Ajax. Next month it's going to be Enzo. Next up, we're also going to be getting some weapon improvements as well. I believe, I don't know if, I know the developers at some point showed off Hive Master, Fallen Hope, and there was another weapon. I think it was Truly Deadly Arson. And they showed these 3 weapons off. I didn't get a chance to hear what they were saying because at that time I was actually working and I was trying to also like pay attention to the update and what they were saying, but I wasn't able to get that portion. So I'm guessing those 3 weapons are going to have some balance adjustments this update, and then in January we're probably going to be getting some more weapon updates. But where things are going to start getting juicy is going to be February. Now, I don't see March in here, so I'm guessing February and March are kind of together on this, because I don't think the developers are going to be releasing all this content just in February. I think they're probably going to split it up from February into March. So we're going to have February and March where we're going to see all of this content. So the first thing is going to be Daya. We knew that Daya was coming. We knew that she was coming eventually. We already kind of knew that she was coming after Harris based off of, kind of where we're at in the story and based off the way the developers are talking. But I know a lot of people are going to be excited because a lot of people have been wanting Daya. So that's pretty good to see. Next up is going to be Operation Directive System. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is the system where it's going to allow you to do certain missions and earn certain rewards from this. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong about that. Again, they kind of explained things like out of order, so it was like hard for me to kind of keep track on what they were talking about. And plus, with all these new lingos and words and stuff like that, it's kind of hard for me to like remember what this is. In reality, I should have been taking notes. I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm only human. Next up is arcade tuning, mutant cell system renewal. This one I do remember. So the developers were talking about the fact that it's become quite cumbersome with the fact that we have A, B, and C boxes for the mutation cells, remembering which box comes from which area, and then all these boxes have different types of mutation cells. It's become quite cumbersome, and I would agree with them. The system itself has become quite cumbersome. So what they're planning on doing, I believe, is they're planning on implementing mutation cells into the arcade tuning tree itself, as branching paths. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work, but I think this is definitely needed because I do think mutation cells have gotten quite out of hand in terms of how many we've gotten, as well as the fact that we have 3 different types of boxes that come from 3 different pieces of content. You know what I mean? It has become quite cumbersome. Next up is going to be the Legion Lab dungeon. New dungeon. That's pretty self-explanatory. We get new dungeons usually every major content update. So we're going to be getting a new one of that. Next up is going to be the beta for Onslaught mode. Now, the developers did briefly describe this, but if I'm not mistaken, this is actually something they had very briefly mentioned. I don't want to say very briefly, but they did actually mention something like this was going to be coming in the future. In the last developer live stream, when they did the Q&A portion, the developers had said that survival. Someone had asked the question about survival game mode or something like that. And the director had said that survival was going to play a part into endgame content, and I'm guessing Onslaught mode is going to be that survival content. They talked about being able to build things like turrets and traps and stuff like that, and we're going to be going up against horde of enemies and trying to survive with 4 people, and I'm guessing you can also do this solo as well. Research time and boosting event. I'm guessing this is going to be the event where we're going to actually have our research times for like things like when we're crafting crystallization catalysts to make it faster, so we can craft more crystallization catalysts, in a given day. So we're going to be able to play the game, increase that, not increase, but decrease the research time of things like crystallization catalysts. And I think this is overall a W. The developers have been slowly doing things with that, such as having things like the the whole axion planes thing. I forget, I think it's like the synchronization, yada yada yada, that makes it so our research times are actually slightly shorter than what they usually are, which I think is pretty good. I'm actually a pretty big fan of that. So we're actually getting even more research time reduction, which I think is great. Boosting event. I think the boosting event, if I'm not mistaken, was basically during these boosting events, during the weekends, we'll actually be able to get increased XP from doing infiltration operations for our weapons and descendants. Things like increased, I think I saw increased Kuiper shards, increased arcade tuning XP, and then increased gold as well. So I think this is good. This is actually something that Senevades had mentioned in his video talking about the state of the game. I think this was a month ago. So this is actually something that he asked for, which is awesome to see. The developers are actually listening to people in the community. Stat info display improvements. I'm not sure what this is, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not the most important thing. So I would imagine that there's going to be improvements with the way our stats are displayed to us in a much less confusing manner. So hopefully, because I think that is definitely something that needs improved. So hopefully that's what that is. But if it's not, then maybe the developers should work on, making stats a little bit easier to understand for new players, as well as people who might not understand building to a certain level. Next up is Descendant mission dashboard. This is a system that makes it so the game is tracking what you can do on a daily and weekly basis. So when you log into the game, having just one area or one menu that shows you, hey, okay, I got to do my 2 Sigma sectors. Okay, I got to do my 4 invasion missions. I got to do my 10. Was it Axiom Plane dungeons? Well, actually, I think it's going to be 20 now, because we're getting another 10 from the upcoming dungeon that's going to be coming out in the December 4th update. So it's basically going to be tracking what you can, your kind of like your task, your homework. I believe that is what Korean gamers call it. So it's going to track your homework. Undersea base dungeon, again, new dungeon. Like I said, I want to say that this is also for March, so we might see the undersea base dungeon come out in March. So not in February, but probably March is what that is. Second boost pass. This is the new player event that is going to make it so that new players can actually boost to hard mode, and you'll get some kind of beginner stuff to kind of get you in the kind of your foot into the door, so you can start working towards getting to that content like onslaught mode, the new dungeons, getting Dia, all of that stuff. Next up is going to be the new weapons and new modules. That's pretty self-explanatory. I'm really hoping, it seems like the developers are finally starting to put a little bit more effort into balancing weapons, which is something they kind of put on the side because they wanted to balance Descendants. So they're finally getting back into doing weapon balancing. And then something that kind of goes into from February to March to May is going to be monthly balance for both weapon and descendants, but the big one is going to be Void Abyss monthly rotation. Now, I don't think I need to even sit here and explain it. It is the thing that I literally just made a video on, albeit it's monthly and not weekly like I wanted. I feel like weekly would have been better, just because, as we get more Void Abyss bosses, it's going to be hard to kind of, for if someone misses one Void Abyss fight, and then that fight's not going to be coming back until next year, that kind of sucks, but I will take what I can get. I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me. I'm going to take this so long. I don't know if the developers talked about it, but so long as the skins return with this Void Abyss monthly rotation, so that new players, returning players, and veteran players who might have not gotten all of the skins can still get the skins that correspond with each Void Abyss fight. That is my big thing. So next up is going to be May. May is going to give us the official release of Onslaught mode. So keep in mind, in February, we're getting a beta version of it, and the developers are probably going to be making some improvements and kind of testing things out, see what's fun, see what's good, what have you. And then they're going to release the official Onslaught mode in May. That is something to keep in mind. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that the developers did say that Lounge 2.0 will not be coming in the December 4th update. I should have opened up with that. I was going to mention it in my other video as well, so I will also mention that in my other video talking about the content that's going to be coming on December 4th. Next up is going to be difficult Void Intercept Battle Renewal. The developers did say that the current Void Intercept Battle content that we have in hard mode was going to be getting a bit of a resurgence, or they were going to be going back and making that content actually like challenging and more as like end game content for us veteran players. So this is going to be when that content comes out. So not only are we getting Onslaught mode, but we're also getting that as well. So I'm guessing they're going to be dropping on the same patch. If not, we'll probably get Onslaught mode in the beginning of May, and we'll probably get the Void Abyss the renewal for the Void Intercept battles at the very end, which is great. Farming Loop Renewal. Now, the producer they showed kind of a little bit of a diagram. I don't even want to say, was it a diagram? I can't remember. But basically, they showed this. I'm going to say diagram. They showed this diagram of basically this kind of circular motion, almost kind of like the water cycle. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, it's kind of like the water cycle where you have motivation, and it goes in a clockwise rotation, and it goes from motivation to farming. And then there was something else at the bottom. I can't remember at the top of my head. If I find the picture, I will put it on screen. But basically what it is it's the way the developers want to kind of tackle adding like endgame content, and kind of like a system and a philosophy on how they want to tackle things, which I haven't had a whole lot of time to really think about. So I'm definitely going to need some more time to think about this philosophy, and if it's overall good for the game. It seems good on paper, but I'd have to really sit down and think about it. So stay tuned for future thoughts and impressions about that. New Void Vessel dungeon. Void Vessel, same thing every time. So we're going to be getting new Void Vessel dungeon, which is fine. Optimization setting option addition. So we're going to be getting more optimization settings for our reactors. Ultimate SCMO is actually going to be coming out in May. So sorry, Haley Mains, but Ultimate SCMO is going to be our next Ultimate Descendant. I know a lot of people are going to be upset about that. Now, the developers did say that they're actually going to be slowing down when it comes to releasing Descendants. I'm guessing this also counts for Ultimate Descendants as well. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think this is actually a good thing, just because I feel like we've gotten so many Descendants since the launch of the game, making it so that the developers are now focused on making sure the Descendants are able to keep up with all the content that's coming out in the game. I think is a much better idea than constantly adding new Descendants that could break the balance, that could be underperforming and can't do the content. You know what I mean? I think this is overall a good thing. And next up, new weapons, new modules, plus the Void Abyss monthly rotation and monthly balancing and stuff like that. And so next up is going to be summer, which is going to be the release of Season 4, Episode 1. And this one is going to be huge. This one, I'm actually super surprised. Now, I'm not surprised when it comes to Corell's final battle, so we're going to be getting a mega dungeon where we're going to be fighting against Corell himself. I had a feeling this is something... Okay, so I wanted to make a video about this, but I never actually did. Corell, I felt like we were coming up on that time where it was time to put an end to Corell. And I think Corell's final battle, this is a perfect time. And that's what I said needed to happen in the video I was planning on making, was Season 4 needs to be the finale of the Corell storyline, and we need to start a new storyline. I think that is great. I think that's fantastic. I'm super happy the developers are going in that direction. Next up, we're going to be getting a new dungeon system. I don't think the developers really explained too much about this new dungeon system. Maybe it's the one I'm thinking of where maybe this is the system I was thinking of when it comes to being able to kind of choose. No, I'm pretty sure that's farming loop renewal. I don't know what the new dungeon system is. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that portion just to kind of get an idea. Next up is going to be Transcendent weapon releases. Yes, it's not Transcendent weapon skins. We do know we are getting Transcendent weapon skins. This is Transcendent weapons. We are getting a new tier of weapon. And I really, 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 really hope that the developers understand that they need to limit one Transcendent weapon per build. Like, they cannot let people run triple Transcendent weapons. It should be one Transcendent weapon, very similar to exotics in Destiny. It can only be one. Because if the Transcendent weapons end up being stronger than ultimate weapons, what's going to be the point of running ultimate weapons? So I'm really hoping the developers understand that Transcendent weapons need to be one per build. Like, one per build. You can't put 3 on at the same time. It has to be one per build. So another thing we see here is we're getting a new Descendant. Makes sense. We're getting Ultimate Haley. And then Ultimate Haley, so sorry Haley mains, you guys are going to have to wait until summer to get Ultimate Haley. It sucks. I understand. But, I mean, it's kind of the way the developers have been, kind of want to take things. And I think this is probably for the best. Next up is going to be the main story overhaul. So for the new player experience, the main story overhaul is going to, or the main story is going to be getting reworked so that it's more cohesive. It's told a lot better than what it currently is. And I think this is a good thing. I'm guessing the way they're probably going to make the story a little bit more... I don't know. I would really have to sit down and think how I want the developers to do it. But if I had to take a guess, I'm thinking they're going to make something a little bit more similar to how Warframe does their stories. But I could be wrong about this. I could be wrong about this. Who knows? Maybe they're going to make it so that the story is kind of separate from your world progression as a new player. And I think that would be interesting, but I would have to sit down and think about it. So that is the roadmap. As you can see, there is a lot, and this is just the first half of 2026. This isn't even everything. And I think this looks fantastic. This is exactly what a lot of us have been wanting in the game. New endgame content. We're finishing the Corell storyline. We're getting Dia. We're getting updates to old systems, which is something that the game has desperately needed. We're finally getting weapon balancing and stuff like that, which is something the game hasn't had for a couple months. So, I mean, when I am looking at this, face to face, this looks like it could possibly change and save TFD. I genuinely believe that. Now, at the end of the day, I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. There's still always the possibility that things can go bad. Systems aren't implemented right. Bugs, 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 bugs. But if I sit here and I assume that the developers deliver on all this, all the systems are at least good or great. Good or great. That's what we're aiming for. I genuinely think this could be a turnaround for TFD. This could bring a lot of new players back into, bring a lot of old players back into the game, and a lot of a lot of people who might have quit back during like launch. This might be, a time where me and other content creators can say, yes, come back to TFD. There's so much going on here, and you're gonna love it. So that's just all I wanted to share about this. This looks fantastic. I think this genuinely looks fantastic on paper, but at the end of the day, we're going to have to see if the developers can deliver on these promises. So, with that being said, guys, let me know in the comment section how you guys felt about the roadmap. I will be having a video talking about the stuff that's going to be coming in December 4th update, so stay tuned for that. But, like always, guys, my name is Garen Belmont, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.